Hi, boys and girls. Today we're going to be working more on rounding. So you will need to gather your pencil and your Eureka workbook and work alongside me as we continue our discussion of rounding that we started last week. So I'm going to, there we go, focus this a little bit better. Hopefully you can see much clearer. Okay, there we go. All right, so starting with the directions, it says complete each statement by rounding the number to the given place value. Use the number line to show your work. Okay, so we've been practicing rounding to the nearest 1,000, the nearest 10,000, and the nearest 100,000. So every time that you are approaching a question, you want to make sure that you are rounding to the correct place. So you always want to pay attention to the instructions, kind of like when you're doing a read, draw, write. You want to make sure that you are focused in on the key directions. So number 1A, 53,000 rounded to the nearest 10,000, to the nearest 10,000. So I'm going to kind of focus myself that nearest 10,000 is my goal for this particular one. So the first step in figuring out how to round to the nearest 10,000 will be to find the 10,000's place. Okay, sorry, I feel like my lighting is a little bit off there. I'm trying to help you to be able to see things as clearly as possible. All right, so you have 53,000 rounded to the nearest 10,000. So I'm going to find the 10,000's place. So if you're looking at your book with me, remember you count over from right to left. So ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. So the digit 5 is in the 10,000s place. So I'm going to underline that to give myself the focus of where I'm going with this question. Okay, so if I'm thinking about to the nearest 10,000, and when you're rounding, remember your answer is going to end in zeros. To the right of the digit that you're underlining is going to end in zeros because you're rounding it to the nearest 10,000 in this case. So according to what we've underlined, we have 5 10,000s or 50,000. So we're going to write 50,000 in the bottom portion of your vertical number line. The next 10,000, after 50,000 would be 60,000. Now we know it's important, as we've talked about before, to identify the midpoint. We identify the midpoint just so that when we place our number, we can see visually whether or not it is closer to 50,000 or 60,000 in this case. So halfway between 50 and 60 is 55,000. Okay, 55,000. So you want all three numbers on your number line. Now finally, we are at the place of placing 53,000. So 53,000 we know is below 55,000. So we will put the star 53,000. Okay, and you can visually see that 53,000.
Thank you.
Sorry, boys and girls, sometimes we have announcements. So 53,000 is closer to 50,000 than it is 60,000. Therefore, 53,000 rounded to the nearest 10,000 is 50,000. Okay, so we are practicing finding the midpoint and finding the nearest 10,000. You want to place it, and I like putting it as a star. That way I can know that, okay, where is it in relation to our vertical number line? It helps you to visually see how to make that decision. Okay, rather than going over to number 2A, I'm going to slip down because you'll probably notice that your directions, I'm going to correct my book here a little bit, see if you can see this a little bit better. I'm trying to find the exact angle that'll make it super clear for you to see.
All right, and at this time, our teachers can walk our kindergarten students to the buses, to dismiss. We hope you had a great day.
Okay, boys and girls, so I noticed that we are rounding as we go down A, B, and C for number 1 to the nearest 10,000. Now B is very similar to question A, 42,708 rounded to the nearest 10,000. So what I would like you to do is pause the video, go through the steps like we just did on A, fill in your vertical number line, and see what you can do with this problem. Then resume the video and check and see if your answer is correct. Okay, boys and girls, check your answer and see if it matches mine. 42,708 rounded to the nearest 10,000 is 40,000. You should have a number of 40,000 on the bottom portion of the vertical number line. The next 10,000 after 40,000 is 50,000. The midpoint would be 45,000. And then we replaced our 708 on the number line. We see that it falls below the midline, therefore it is closer to 40,000. So 42,708 rounded to the nearest 10,000 is 40,000. So I hope that you were successful in that problem. Okay, now we're going to go down to C. This one is slightly different in that you start with a number in the 100,000s. I apologize, boys and girls. The camera is not picking up as well as I hoped it to. I think, there we go. It's a much clearer picture. We know that technology is not perfect, so we're doing the best we can. All right, so here we have the number 406,823 rounded to the nearest 10,000. Just because you have a number in the 100,000 doesn't mean that you're always going to round to the largest place. Sometimes you're going to round to the place that they specifically tell you to do. So that was the point of underlining what the question's actually asking you. So the very first thing after we determine that we are rounding to the nearest 10,000 is to look in the digits and count over and find that 10,000's place. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Now it is a 0 in that place, but of course we don't say 0, 10,000. We think of it as 40, 10,000. Now 40, 10,000 would be the equivalent of 400,000. And we'll say that again. 40, 10,000, remember in our days of bundling, 40, 10,000 would be equivalent or equal to 400,000. So if that would be true, then 400,000 needs to be written in the bottom of our vertical number line. Now, keeping in mind that the digit 0 was in the 10,000s spot, meaning we did not have a 10,000 in that particular place, or 40 10,000s, we have to look at it as a whole, 40 10,000s. The next 10,000 after 0 10,000 in that space would be 10,000. So your next number to the nearest 10,000 would be 410,000. Now I'm going to go over in my marker so you can see that a little more clearly. 410,000. And here was 400,000. So when you put it on the vertical number line, you can see we had 0 in the 10,000. We added 10,000, or the next 10,000 would be having a 1 in that place. So 40 10,000 is 400,000. 41 10,000 is 410,000. Yes. The midpoint, you guessed it, 405,000. Now it simply becomes a point of putting the original number on that vertical number line and seeing where it falls. 406,823 is above the midpoint, approximately here. 406,823, so therefore it is closer to 410,000. So there is our number in the 100,000s, still rounded to the nearest 10,000. Remember, you can pause the video, rewind the video, look back and see if something that you need to practice or think about a little bit more. Okay, because this one was a little bit different in our thinking in that we had to go to the 100,000. We had a number in the 100,000 and we were still changing just the 10,000s. All right, moving on, we're going to go over to number 2 now, and we're going to change our focus from rounding to the nearest 10,000 to the nearest 100,000. So a lot is the same in our strategy. We are going to look at our number. Sorry, boys and girls. Again, we're having a little bit of problem with the focus today. I'll try to help you to see it a little bit better. There we go. It's coming into view. Okay, here we go. 240,000 rounded to the nearest 100,000. So just like we did when we were rounding to other places, we're going to find the place that it's asking us. So in this case, it's the nearest 100,000. So I'm going to come over and start on the right-hand side, count over. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. I notice that I have a 2 in that place. So I'm going to go ahead and write on the bottom of my vertical number line 200,000. The next 100,000 after 200,000 is 300,000. Notice everything to the right of the 100,000s place is a 0. That's what happens when you round to the nearest, in this case, 100,000. Of course, our midpoint is 250,000. So 240,000 falls below the midpoint. I'm going to place it here, and I can see that it is closer to that 200,000 mark. Therefore, 240,000 to the nearest 100,000 is 200,000. Problem B is very much like A. Round to the nearest 100,000. I would like you to pause the video, try it on your own, and come back and see how you did and compare to my answer. Be sure that you use all the strategies that I've shown you so far. Okay, boys and girls, check your answer. 449,019 rounds to 400,000. I chose to go ahead and box it in just to help you see more clearly where it falls on the number line and where the ultimate rounding occurs. So 449,019 rounds to 400,000. We can see it falls just below the midline, very close, but still closest to 400,000. Now our last problem on C, this is a fun one, I think. We're still rounding to the nearest 100,000. So again, always want to think about your focus. I'm going to count over, and I'm starting to see a pattern. I know that there are 6 digits in a 100,000 number. A number in the 100,000 has 6 digits. So I can easily identify once I start realizing the patterns of these numbers and the place value from using my place value chart so much, that this is 964,103. So 900,000 would be at the bottom of my vertical number line. After 900,000, we would have 10,000,000. Now we don't say 10,000,000, we say 1,000,000. So if you have 10,000,000, you actually have 1,000,000. Remember back in our bundling days, we would have 10, move it over, and it would create 1,000,000 on our place value chart. So now we are finding the midpoint, 950,000. Then we're going to place our number that they've given us, 964,103. 960,000 is going to fit above the midpoint. Therefore, the final answer is 964,103 rounded to the nearest 100,000 is 1,000,000. Woohoo! Wish we had $1,000,000 to represent this. That would be pretty exciting. All right, so this is some practice on rounding to the nearest 10,000, rounding to the nearest 100,000 using a vertical number line. You will want to get used to using this strategy and even boxing in your final answer. Putting symbols such as an asterisk on here helps you be able to see where the number falls to make your final decision. So if you want to go back on the other numbers that you've worked on in the beginning, and we could go back and box in our final answer, it really does help make it super clear of how to read and where our strategy took place. Okay. So again, I'm going to expect that you're going to upload page 63 for me today, and I would love to see that you have used the strategies that I demonstrated in the video, because soon you will be using these as a strategy of your own when solving problems without me modeling. So boys and girls, I hope that you enjoyed learning today. You're going to go on your Zern lesson 8. It's going to back you up to help fill in any kind of a gap you may have in your understanding. So make sure you work all the way through the Tower of Power, and you will feel super math power charged. Okay, and you will feel so good about what you've learned today. So good job, boys and girls, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.